Welcome to the weekly close live here on the Passive Income Podcast with myself and my co-host Joseph Hadaway. Hey Joe, how are we doing today?
It is Friday afternoon. I am off work and I'm doing good, Dave. How about you?
Yeah, same. Definitely looking forward to the weekend, and Fridays are always great at the end of that Friday afternoon shift when you just drive away from work, right?
I work from home, so it's more get up and walk away, but it's a similar feeling.
Yeah. So, weekly close. So let's take a quick look at the closing numbers of the week. The TSX closes at just over 21,000. So down a little bit from last week's close, but still kind of holding strong. Nothing really too drastic to report there. The interesting one is the next one over, the S&P 500 closing over 5,000 for, I believe, is that the first time ever that the S&P 500 closes above 5,000?
That is the first time ever. That's like I think, eighth or ninth record close of 2024. And yeah, broke 5K for the first time.
Wow, that is amazing. Next one over quickly, we're just going through this. The Dow Jones Industrial Average closing at 38,671. And always the interesting one between us because, as everyone knows, I'm in Canada, you're in the US. So the Canadian dollar to the US dollar, actually, if you look up here, it's 74.33. So I think that's a little bit higher than last week's close.
I,
I
was,
think last week we were right bang on the 74 mark.
I think you're right. Yeah, we were right there.
Crude oil, 76.59. This was interesting too. This is in Canadian dollars. So Bitcoin, which obviously never closes, but just shy of 64,000 Canadian dollars. That's interesting.
About 47.5 USD.
Right. Wow. And then skip over here to the NASDAQ closing at just shy of 16,000. And actually, I noticed this. They've added a few here. We've got the FTSE as well, which is interesting. 75.72. The Nikkei at 36,897. And then, hey, do we want to know about the Canadian dollar to the euro? Not so much. Who cares? And those are the closing numbers for the week. We do have a lot to talk about this week. The earnings this week were so many. Monday was so long ago that I can't
That it
even remember
was.
what happened, but I know that we were keeping our eye on McDonald's, Caterpillar, Palantir, and a few others. So I guess go ahead and then jump in there,
Yeah,
Joe.
so I'm looking at Palantir right now because I heard they did well, but I don't know how well. Okay, apparently I don't know how to spell Palantir, so we'll have to come back to that. Caterpillar, another one. I know Caterpillar beat earnings. I know I kind of just trust them to do their thing. Solid dividend stock, solid track record forever. McDonald's, though, was the interesting one that I had my eyes on. Year over year, same store sales, both U.S. and international, fell kind of short of expectations. Stock saw a little dive on Monday, but recovered to be up like 0.5% on the week. Basically a flat week, which for an earnings report like theirs, where they did miss several analyst expectations, not bad. Still,
Right.
though, talking, I mean, year over year growth, same store growth was still like 4.45-5% internationally and here in the States. So, still a pretty solid earnings call, just not where analysts wanted. What I really liked, though, was their CEO, whose name again escapes me, was talking a lot about how they are committing to make a better product and come out with more quality food. If you're looking at what's driving their growth right now, it is higher average check price and higher average menu price. So, and it seems
Right.
like even the C-suite, they recognize they've raised prices mostly due to inflation, but that is not the growth of the company onwards. So they're looking to keep going, and it looks like the market reacted pretty well to that.
Yeah, and you can see here on the screen so many earnings calls just on Monday alone: Caterpillar, Palantir, McDonald's. Estee Lauder, Tyson down there, and McDonald's is an interesting one as well. Obviously, and I really feel with something like McDonald's is they're just going to keep doing what they do. Similar to what you said about Caterpillar, they're just going to keep doing what they do, and
Palant.
whether they miss or hit, they're solid companies, and right, like
I was gonna. Oh
I'm
yeah, no,
not
you are spot
overly
on.
concerned about companies like them.
I was gonna say I take back what I said about Palantir. That's the earnings call I should have tuned into. Up 39% this week.
Yeah.
I knew they did well. I don't know if they did that well though.
So and obviously there's a lot on Twitter/X about Palantir, and there's so many people tweeting about it and buying it or recommending to buy it. And what is it? Does anybody know what Palantir is or what they do? Like, come on. Hey, anybody who's watching in the chat, like, let me know what does Palantir do? Who are they? I honestly, I'm pretty sure they're an AI company, and I think AI is obviously taking off and beginning to progress. But
I would say I'm with you. Like I know for a fact they are a AI company, and then I had to Google it over here too. So yeah, they do AI and big data analytics. Founded by Peter Thiel, also of PayPal fame. But yeah, that
right,
God, we're both gonna catch strays on Twitter because neither of us know.
yeah, so much, right? Okay, moving on to Tuesday. A lot happened on Tuesday as well, and I know you want to talk about Snap,
Oh
but
snap!
let's just is there anything else on here that Lilly, I believe that's Eli Lilly, if I'm not
It is,
mistaken.
yes.
And then Spotify, Ford, Hertz, BP, Toyota. Wow, like we're only into Tuesday, and look at how much has already happened this past week.
Spotify actually, I think, surprised everybody. I know their stock popped as well. Better than expected user numbers, which I mean, I love Spotify. I'm a huge Spotify user. I don't invest in the stock, but in terms of user growth, I mean, they're doing it. Toyota, another one of those auto manufacturers, up like an insane amount this year, like 40, 50 plus percent. Maybe it's no, up 40 or 50 year over year. Um, really seeing those investments into the EVs pay off, to say the least. Kind of moving into
Right.
the after close, kind of the opposite of Ford. Ford's EV numbers were not looking great in their earnings call, and they took a little bit of a hit for it. But like you
Interesting.
said, I want to talk about Snapchat. Down 32% day of earnings, Snapchat.
Ooh, that's like a dagger to the heart, right?
What happened, man? Like, I understand. Like, I mean, their ad growth numbers were like 5%, whereas Alphabet, Amazon, and Meta all reported like double digit ad growth. But oh my God. And then their outlook was not great either, which, I mean, we've been seeing a lot lately. I think a lot of analysts, especially in these major publicly traded companies, are not looking favorable on the U.S. economy over the next 6 months to a year. But Snapchat, I mean, it was like a year ago they posted their first ever profitable quarter, and the stock jumped like 30%. Everybody loved them. Now we're right back where we started, and like I mean, it just baffles. Do you know how bad you have to screw up to lose 1/3 of your market cap in an afternoon? Like billions of dollars just gone.
Yeah, no, I don't know how badly you have to screw up to do that.
Like Alphabet Q3 2023, no, Alphabet Q2 2023 earnings call loses $287 billion. That's like somehow still second to what Snapchat did.
Okay, personal question. Do you have Snapchat on your phone? Do you use Snapchat yourself?
So rarely. I did. I used it quite a bit in like high school and college. I have one person that I still Snapchat with. We're pushing like day 1200 on our Snapchat streak. The only reason I still have the app is because Noah, I hope you're watching this. This one's for you. Um, Neither of us want to be the one to quit, but as soon as he and I quit, I'm done.
As soon as so I didn't even know that was a thing. So I've never been on
You're not
Snapchat.
missing anything.
Too I'm too old, I guess. I don't know. I honestly I'm kind of interested in because I have so many other social medias, obviously, like X, Instagram, Facebook, and I've been on Discord, I've been on Telegram, I've been on so many other um, social media platforms that I guess I'm just kind of curious, like about Snapchat. What is it? How does it work? I don't know. Like,
I mean, they've definitely made some strides with their business model because like they're not making a penny off of me. If I just take my quick like picture of my dog who's right here behind me, send it to my friend Noah, and he snaps back. We never see an ad, but second you browse stories or the sponsor stories, they can show you ads. Supposedly, their Snap Premium numbers were significantly better than expected, but I don't know who's paying for Snap Premium. It just
yeah,
it's a social media site that targets a sub 18 demographic, which is historically probably the hardest demographic to monetize. So
right.
I don't know. I not financial advice, but I've never put a penny into the company and I'm still not going to, even now that they're on a discount.
Yeah. Buy the dip or don't buy the dip. This is definitely not financial advice.
God, but buy the dead cat bounce is what we're about to say.
Okay, okay. Are we ready to move on to
I
Wednesday?
am if you are.
Yeah, definitely. Several interesting earnings here on Wednesday reported: Alibaba, PayPal, Uber, Disney, CVS, XPO, which I will talk about, and then more here down at the bottom as well. Berry, I believe that's Berry Global, probably Berry Plastics, if I'm not mistaken.
I honestly don't know.
Yeah. So, anyways, go ahead and any thoughts on any of these companies?
If you are on Twitter, I hate you. Everyone on Twitter told me like 3 years ago to buy Uber, and I thought it was another one of those gig economy stocks that were just going to crash. But boy, was I wrong. Uh, one of the most recent members, the S&P 500, Uber, just posted their first ever profitable year, like full year of profitability ever. Uber. But I don't know whether it's Uber Eats or just Uber itself driving the growth, or even their investment into like self-driving cars. I did not listen to the earnings call, and I haven't really followed because if I follow too hard, I'm just going to cry at the missed opportunity. Also says the guy that sold Tesla in 2019. Um, Still not proud of that one either. But yeah,
You
Uber,
did
I
that?
did.
Oh, good
December
job.
2019, my share, I bought in I think it was May of 2016, May or June of 2016. I sold December 2019 up like a significant amount, but I would be up a lot more if I had just held between what 3 share splits and the insane bull run. They just got cut short like 2 weeks ago on a very poor earnings call before you and I started doing this.
Right.
But yeah,
Right.
Uber killing it.
Yeah. Dave Greta is not going to be happy with you.
I don't know who that is. I'll be honest.
Okay, no, I'm surprised you don't follow him on Twitter. He's huge on telling people how he was recommending to buy Uber years ago, and actually he's big on Hershey too, which we will get to in the Thursday earnings. The one there from is it are we still on Wednesday?
Yeah, yeah.
Are we on Thursday? What
Well,
day
we're
are
still
we
on
on?
Wednesday because we haven't even gotten to PayPal yet.
Oh, right, yeah, PayPal. I was gonna touch on XPO Logistics, but if you wanna, speak to PayPal, go
Yeah,
for it.
I'll very briefly do PayPal and Disney, then we'll move on. PayPal, from my understanding, they beat earnings, posted a pretty expected outlook on the next year. From what I heard though, and I saw this so many times on Twitter, was their new CEO, who I know he's at like ACCCE. Supposedly, just his tone and everything throughout the earnings call was bad. I think the phrase I used was, "I've never heard someone so disinterested in their own product." This is also the same PayPal that was going to shock the world on January
Right.
25th, and they announced that you now get rewards and they have an AI assistant. So they got to
Yeah.
figure something out.
An AI assistant that probably doesn't do anything special any more than what your FedEx or UPS AI assistant does, or
I was going to say, do you get like the Travelocity commercials in Canada?
probably if you have TV. I cut the cord years ago,
Uh,
so but I'm sure that we would get them,
we
yeah.
we cut the cord in 2017. I just get them on YouTube. So, but they're always like, yeah, use our new AI powered assistant to plan your next trip. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing that. Disney, though, another interesting earning. When Bob Iger actually retires, like for good, I don't know what they're gonna do. Because things didn't go well you had Bob Iger, then you had not Bob Iger. Now you got Bob Iger again. The stock is just you can see. So Disney missed a little on the revenue, and I think missed a little on maybe even the EPS. I'm trying to remember exactly what it was, but Bob Iger's got an outlook on the company, and like if there's anybody out there who can drive growth at Disney, it's Mr. Iger.
Right.
I will let you. Yeah. I will stop talking now. Let you go on to XPO.
Yeah, no, XPO. It would again sort of nothing special about the earnings report. It's again, a lot of people know I'm in purchasing and logistics, so that is a company. I don't use them myself, but a lot of my vendors and suppliers do use them. So it is a company that is a reliable transportation company. I honestly didn't even know that they were an American company based or traded on the New York Stock Exchange. For the amount of trucks I see zipping around my local area, I thought they were just like kind of a small Canadian trucking company. And then I saw that come out this week, and I'm like, oh wow, XPO, okay, cool. And yeah, and if anybody who knows anything about the trucking industry and logistics, there's kind of two types of companies: the reliable ones and the unreliable ones. And there's kind of like, black and white. There's no gray areas here in between. And they are definitely one of the reliable companies. So, again, not financial advice, but if you're looking to, to get into the transportation part of your portfolio, that's a company that you should definitely take a look at, do your own due diligence, do your own research. So, that's all I was really going to say about them. Honestly, I did not look deep into the earnings report this past week. I was more than anything, just kind of surprised to see them there because, like I said, I thought they were just a small company, and then all of a sudden I see them. Oh wow, they're traded on the New York Stock Exchange.
That's getting into Thursday's calls, man. That's how I feel about Hershey. Like, I understand they are one of, if not the biggest candy chocolate companies on the planet. But like every time I see that HSY ticker, I'm like, man, they really do exist, don't they? But earnings for them, they popped like quick. Like they're, if I remember correctly, they're trading around 194, 195 right now. Before earnings, they were here actually, still about where they are now. They popped up over 200 immediately after, but then immediately have come back down to earth, down about 0.7% on the week. Those 2024 cocoa costs are going to eat into them, which is going to be great again to hear. Well, not great, but to hear about again when Nestle reports in just a couple weeks.
Right. Interesting. And I saw there on the Thursday is also Pinterest, which is interesting. I guess the comparison somewhat to the Snapchat. A little bit different type of social media platform, but
somebody in your comments slapped my hand on that. When I was talking about it the other day, Pinterest also down like 10% immediately after earnings. It's the same thing. Alphabet, Amazon, and Meta all reported like insane fourth quarter ad growth. Snapchat didn't. And then Pinterest came up and they did a little better in Snapchat, but they're not keeping up with the big boys. And somebody argued with me on Twitter, and I'm going to say argue. This was a very good point, whoever you are. I don't remember your name. I'm not trying to call you out at all. Was like Snapchat's business model is ads. They've got their Snapchat premium, but ads are what keep the lights on. Pinterest also has, the e-commerce side of things. But I don't know. In my opinion, Pinterest and Etsy are very similar in the sense of, the e-commerce side and the commissions they get off of that are great. But once again, ad revenue keeps the lights on.
Yeah.
And then I also have thoughts on Affirm if we want to go into that as well.
Yeah, definitely go for it.
I hope Affirm goes under. I want Affirm to declare bankruptcy tomorrow. I hate that company because you know what they are, right?
I have no idea, to be honest.
Short-term financing. Affirm, like if you are like ordering something off of Amazon, they've got huge corporate partnerships. The main one being Amazon. If you check out on Amazon, you can now finance through Affirm, and it's a payday loan, is all it is. You know, they're gonna
Oh,
give you like an APR. It's like 11% for like 6 weeks. Annualize that throughout the year, and they're robbing you blind. Plus, then you're gonna add, of course, fees and financing charge on top of that. The stock ran up an insane amount over the last. Let's see here. Let me pull it up. They ran up like over 100%, I think, in 5 years. Let's see here. 5 years. Oh, they're down. Okay, over the last year, they are up 250%, up from about $12 a share to pushing 45, which is great for me though, because then they're down 11% today. Earnings and outlook was disappointing to say the least. Which is interesting though, because we go back into the economic talk, and I don't know how true this is, but I can say I used to work for a very similar company to Affirm, and we did payday lending. And we were always told in a recession and an uncertain economic outlook, we were about to do good. Like our commission checks were about to be fat. So looking ahead, I mean, maybe Affirm going down means we're expecting a soft landing. Maybe recession in the US isn't happening like people said it was, but Affirm could go under, could clear bankruptcy tomorrow, and I'd be happier for it.
oh, interesting. Interesting. Was there anything else there on the Thursday earnings calls that we want to discuss?
I wish I had tuned into Expedia. I'm looking at the sheet you have pulled up, and I did not know they were publicly traded.
No, yeah. Shout out to Dairyland Divs too. I've borrowed a lot of these from him.
Shout out Derry. We recently met. Cool guy. I like talking to him.
Yeah, he's a very interesting character. I'm very happy to have him as part of my Twitter circle for sure.
I'm gonna
With that said, I only got the before ones for Friday, and before PepsiCo, Canopy Growth. Oh my God, Enbridge. So those two are Canadian. AMC, Blue Owl plans. I did not. I do not know what the Canopy Growth one. I actually right now is to be full disclosure. This is the first time I'm actually seeing that it says Canopy Growth, because I just prior to this I sort of scanned over and saw PepsiCo and Enbridge and AMC. Figured that's what we would talk about, right?
I'm assuming Canopy is a weed corporation.
It is.
Well, they're down 3% today. Pot stocks have not been doing well in the U.S. Somebody tell me
No.
I'm wrong about that, because I might actually be. But PepsiCo. So I told Dave this before we went live. Pepsi, who is inferior to Coke. If you disagree with me, it's because you're wrong. I usually, it's after work is when I usually start reading the news, and well, right now it's after work for me, so I haven't gotten to look it up yet. But they're down 3.5%, 4% on the day, about 2% on the week, and I think you mentioned they raised the dividend, which is
I'm quite
surprising.
sure. I want to say I'm 99% sure I saw that posted on several times on Twitter, that PepsiCo raised their dividend. I think significantly. I want to say 7%, something like that.
Oh, I mean, because right now you're sitting at like a 3% dividend yield with them. Pepsi, Pepsi and Coke both great long term, not financial advice, but great long term dividend plays for a long time now. Both
Right.
solid business models with a solid customer base. Some people I know disagree with me on that. They think that like the current generation is going to kick soda, and to an extent, I think they've got a point. But solid dividend payers for years now. But one proof that Coke is better. Which one did Warren Buffett invest in?
I was just gonna bring that up. It's like, how much does Warren Buffett make just in Coca-Cola dividends alone every quarter, right?
Oh, you were right. They 7% increase on the dividend, up to 5.42 a share. This is Pepsi's 52nd consecutive annual dividend increase.
Yeah, so dividend king, and
Insane.
that what did you say? 542, 552.
5.42. That's
So that's
USD.
obviously annually, but
Mhm.
still, that's a very nice quarterly dividend to add to, to get into your account every 3 months.
and on a company that's up what 45% in the last 5 years. So I mean, we're not talking AT&T here, a company that is debatably circling the toilet. Pepsi's maybe still got a little growth in them. You know, they're not popping 30% like Palantir did, but 45% with a 3-4% dividend yield, that's not a bad 5-year play.
No, that is nice. And great segue. You mentioned AT&T, and I'm going to bring up Bell Canada, which,
Yes.
as so many know, is the by far the largest um, telecom provider in Canada. And it's not just obviously, 100 and some years ago they started it with landlines, but now there is the Bell Mobility, Bell Media division. And so right here on this headline, it says BCE Q4 profit down from a year ago, raises dividend and announces job cuts. So yesterday, when this news came out, usually when there's a dividend raise and job cuts, investors are like all over that because they're thinking, okay, the company is saving money on the wages and increasing the dividend. So you would think the stock price is going to go up, right? Is it like, am I crazy saying that?
No, not at all. And I was having a great talk with I'm gonna shout him out, FA over at Marketplace. He and I were talking about this recently, especially when Spotify announced layoffs a quarter ago. Right now, especially in the tech world, layoffs are kind of just the norm. Like
Right.
if you announce layoffs on a random Tuesday, your stock's getting hammered for it. But like right now, I mean, going back to what I just quote this week, Snapchat laid off 10% of their workforce. That's 500 employees worldwide. People are just kind of expecting layoffs right now. I think Meta has spent several $1 million laying off people over the last 2 years, even. If you're going to announce layoffs, now's kind of the time because everyone else is doing it.
Yeah, so there is more to that Bell story. So first, yesterday, the stock dropped by $2. It went from over $52 Canadian on the TSX to $50 and change. And I don't know if you saw my tweet. I'm like, I'm deviating. Like, this is my non-pay week, and I'm like, I gotta figure out a way to buy a couple of shares at. I'm, buying the dip basically. So I did. I'm like, okay. Luckily, I had some dividends sitting there just in cash in my brokerage account, and then I'm like, I'm just transferring another however many dollars to buy a couple shares, and so I just pulled the trigger and it's like, okay, well, I'll have to wait till next week till payday to actually pay some bills, I guess. But I'm happy I did it. And then I guess further to that story, I was mentioning one of their divisions is also called Bell Media, and they own 103 radio stations in Canada, and they also own television stations and others. So as part of that announcement is they are going to be selling or have already sold, I believe it was 45 I believe it was 45 of the 103 radio stations, and a lot of them are regional radio stations. Um, so it honestly, it might be good for those regional radio stations to go back to smaller, kind of the smaller family-run type of ownership that that can foster like a community, right? As opposed to being owned by a corporate giant, which Bell definitely is a corporate giant. So,
Real quick, I just looked this up while you were talking. Have you ever looked up Bell's price chart?
oh yeah.
It's what happened in 2000?
Oh, from the all-time high of, like, 175 or $180 down to the next
Yeah,
day of, like, $35.
that's what I'm like. Yeah, because I'm looking at like July of '99, they were $55. By March of 2000, they're up, like you said, like 160, pushing 150.
Are you looking
And
at
then
it at that in Canadian or US dollars? Because they are traded on the New York exchange as well.
USD.
Okay, okay.
And yeah, by August they're down to $24. Man, like what? How that must have been a crazy 6 months.
Yeah. Oh, man, I'm glad I didn't, buy the top on that one, right?
Somebody did. Somebody definitely did.
Oh, yeah, guaranteed, guaranteed. So, there
I
were other interesting earnings calls, reported in the Canadian market this week. TELUS, Enbridge, Algonquin. I guess we kind of touched on Enbridge there. It was in one of those um, charts. Canopy growth as well, like you mentioned, the pot stocks are just ridiculous, retarded. Yeah, we were actually talking about this. We did a lot. I did a live stream last Sunday with Teddy, the dividend dog, and Nick at Smartworth, and Dave at Sandstone Capital. And they were talking about like in the U.S. wanting more guidance of legalization and if it becomes federally regulated. And I just kept shaking my head. I'm like, no, 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 no. It's all you've got it all backwards. Because what happened here in Canada, pot became legal, like marijuana became legal in, I want to say, I don't know, 2018, maybe 2017. And the lead up to that was like this huge buildup, right? Like the stocks were just doing what stocks are supposed to do up and to the right. And then after legalization, it's just they've been one of the worst investments. They were one of the best investments before it was fully legal. And I mean, they were being traded as medical marijuana stocks back then. And it was this great run up. And then as soon as it became legal nationwide, it pretty much immediately became one of the worst investments. So, and I kept saying to Teddy, "No, no, no, you've got it backwards. Buy now, like run it up, and then once there's the clarification from the federal government in the U.S., that then sell it at the top, right? Like, and I don't know. Obviously, who knows if it's gonna if the U.S. is gonna mirror what happened here in Canada? And obviously, we can't
I feel like
know that.
there's a good chance because I mean I'm it was back in like 2018 if I remember correctly. Pot stocks in the U.S. were doing pretty good because they were starting to see legalization in states like Colorado
Yeah,
and I mean even like Florida back then was doing medical marijuana, so they were the future looked bright, but now they've kind of, I mean, we're at like year 5 or 6 of just stagnation on a lot of marijuana laws in the U.S., and they've kind of sunk back to where they were.
right. Okay. Anything else from this past week that we want to talk about before what we're looking forward to in next week and next Friday? What we may be discussing on the weekly close live here on the Passive Income Podcast. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. If you're watching this on Joseph's channel, please subscribe to Joseph's
Please
channel.
do.
Make sure you just subscribe. Click that button. It's free.
It comes with a share of Snapchat stock, basically free.
Anything else from this past week before we look ahead?
Somebody sent me a DM and let me know how Mattel did. I didn't get to tune in. Somebody let me know.
Okay. Okay. I guess that means I should yeah, nobody's DM me. I'm not popular enough, I guess. You're too popular.
I get a lot of DMs. Most of them aren't real people. They're fake bots trying to sell me like I still have fake you in my dividends or in my DMs.
Yeah. I don't know what happened there. Like I've had so many people report him. I went to report him myself and then they're like it was way too complicated. It was way too complicated. It should just be like, look it, I have a blue check mark. I'm who I say I am. This person isn't. And I got frustrated with it. So I was really just relying on people like yourself and more of others to report them.
I to make it even weirder, we've had several chats too, him and I. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, that is weird. Oh, wow. Well, another lively discussion here every Friday. You can catch us, Joseph and myself, here on the weekly close live on the Passive Income Podcast. Be sure to tune in next week and see what happens in the markets.
Gonna be another big week next week.
Yeah, it is. And honestly, I did have that. I don't have it handy. I should have had myself more prepared to pull up next week's earnings calls from I believe that's from Earnings Whisperer that all those graphics are from that I've been using. So shout out to them as well. And
Uh,
yeah,
I guess to give you a preview, Waste Management, Monday.com, Shopify, Coca-Cola, Airbnb, Marriott, Moody's. Moody's is going to be a fun one. Cisco, Sony, Kraft Heinz. A lot of Warren Buffett companies next week. John Deere, Southern Company. They're going to raise the dividend. I'm calling it right now. Southern Company is going to raise the dividend again.
okay, fair enough.
Uh,
Did we not just have Shopify this past week?
no, Shopify is next Tuesday.
I was sure we had
Hey,
Shopify listed on one of those.
we had Spotify.
Oh, Spotify. Okay. Oh, Oh, so what you're telling me is Spotify and Shopify are different.
One's Canadian. One is not. One
Yeah,
listens to
Shopify is
music.
Canadian. Okay.
Yeah. Gonna be a good one though. Shopify, they put so much money into marketing. It's gonna be a fun call. But yeah, my big prediction for next week, join back, see if I'm right, see if I'm wrong. Southern Company raising the dividend. There's no way they don't.
Okay.
These energy stocks, dividend wise, and killing it lately.
Okay. And how many points are the Chiefs going to win the Super Bowl this weekend?
Oh, I need to bet on that. DraftKings next Thursday too. I'm not a sports bettor. I'm trying to do a YouTube video where I bet on the Super Bowl. I got Chiefs by 13.
Who are they playing? Does anybody know who they're
49ers.
playing?
49ers. 49ers are projected to win too. I have not watched a single NFL game this year. So your guess is as good as mine. All I know is the 49ers are favored, and I'm going to put like $10 on the Chiefs for a YouTube video. Just because
Okay,
why
fair
not?
enough. My prediction is that the absolute biggest winner of the Super Bowl is Taylor Swift.
Honestly, I think the biggest winner is the NFL by having her around. Have you
Yeah,
seen
well,
it? If enough of you subscribe, me and Dave will get a Super Bowl commercial next year.
we only need about 100,000 more subscribers on both of our channels, and then I could actually also start paying my co-host, right?
I was we're gonna need a lot more than that. Those Super Bowl commercials start at like 6 million.
Yeah, well, okay. I don't know, 10 million. We don't even need the subscribers. We need the viewers. The viewers are what pay the bills. So thank you for
Mr.
watching, everyone.
Oh yeah, very much. Thank you all so much.
And with that said, yeah, thank you so much for tuning in and checking out this episode of the Weekly Close Live. And be sure to come back next Friday for another lively discussion between myself and my co-host, Joseph Hadaway.
Thank you all for watching.
And subscribe to both channels.
Yes. And hit the bell.
Sure, hit the bell. Why not? And watch.